Welcome to our 5 on 5. Pleased to be joined today by Doug Walker, one of the lead volunteers with the Foundry Village Transitional Housing Project in Grants Pass. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. So this is of course, the Rogue Retreat project for the homeless in Grants Pass, similar to what Hope Village is here in Medford. Grants Pass City Council last week added some new code. What does this mean for the future of the project?
Well, the new code was something we were asking the council to adopt, and it allows for a transitional nature of these buildings. Normally a building either has to fit under residential code or commercial code, and we didn't want it to do either of those. We wanted to make these more like detached bedrooms, which is what they have here in Medford at Hope Village. And so we were looking to do the same thing, and we were hoping the City Council would adopt that, and they had.
Okay, and now in case people don't know, where is the property that's laid out, and how many beds, how many buildings, how does that look?
Yeah, so the new facility in Medford is called Foundry Village, and it's
Grants Pass.
in Grants Pass,
yes.
excuse me.
Yeah.
I said Medford, didn't
Yeah.
I? Grants Pass. It's on Foundry Street, and so it's called Foundry Village. It's going to be 17 detached bedroom units, tiny homes, basically in sort of duplex format. They'll be attached to each other,
Okay.
and then there'll be a community room which has the laundry facilities, the kitchen facilities, the shower facilities. All of those sort of utilities happen there. And one of the reasons that's done that way is some of the best practices that were learned up and down the West Coast over the last 10 years for homeless facilities was to make the facilities sparse, so people were encouraged to move on. And then in the sparseness, the people that are there are encouraged to go to the community rooms and watch TV, hang out, and that sort of re-socializes them. Some of these people are struggling with challenges and everything, and so they're forced to be in the community room. They re-socialize a little bit, and then the case managers, which are there on a regular basis, get to oversee things and say, oh, looks like we got some problems over here we need to address a little sooner than later, and that helps them to pay attention to that.
Yeah, is it possible that this could be in place by fall, winter of later this year?
It's going to depend on the volunteers, how many hours we get out of the
Sure.
volunteers, their skill levels. If we have to pay contractors to do all the work, well, then that's when we reach our max budget. We're going to need all that money. But if we can rely on volunteers for both time and for their talents, we might get done late in the fall, maybe November, something like that.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that and how people can help out in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, here with Doug Walker, one of the lead volunteers for the Foundry Village Transitional Housing Project in Grants Pass. We were just talking about how it got some changes in city code at City Council last week, some decisions that were made moving the project ahead. Before we get into kind of where we're at again with the project, how did you personally get involved with this, Doug?
Well, I'm a retired builder. I've been in construction all my life, and I've been over the last 3 or 4 years volunteering with housing issues with the city and with a couple different groups in town. And someone I know knew somebody else that was interested in doing something for the homeless, and they were looking at a piece of property on Foundry which has the right kind of zoning for this transitional housing. And he asked me if I'd come to some meetings, and so 4 of us got together and started talking about what we could do. So the 4 of us, put our money together and bought the property on Foundry with the idea we'd go build some apartments, transitional. But then we got involved with Rogue Retreat, which is what the organization here in Medford, and they're able to talk to us about the transitional nature of what they do and their building style. And so we thought, oh, that's a good idea. It works better. And the 4 of us don't really want to run and own this thing into the future. We just want to get it built and then sort of walk away and leave it to people that are experts on it. And so we found out what Rogue Retreat was doing, and then we said, okay, let's see if we can get the City Council and Grants Pass to adopt this code, allow us to do the same thing. And that's kind of how I got into this.
Yeah, and you talked kind of what the structural nature of what the layout is going to look like. Is for people who may know, is that pretty much the same as what they have here in Medford at Hope Village?
Yeah, it's going to be very similar.
Okay.
Very similar. I mean, the shape and size of the lot is different, and so that'll dictate how we do things and where it sits on the road and all that. So it'll be a little different in that way, but they're going to be very similar.
Okay, and we talked about how we're still fundraising for the project, but also, the target fundraising goal very much depends on what kind of volunteer labor you're able to get and skilled labor. Is there any particular type of skilled labor you're looking for, or just anybody who knows anything about building?
Yeah, construction. I mean, if you know what end of the saw is dangerous, so stay away from the sharp end of the saw. You know how to make it, run a hammer. But at the same time, I don't want to turn anybody away who's just energetic and who can be there. And sometimes just somebody who's there with a positive attitude, being nice, being a gopher, making sure people have dinner or making lunch or whatever. We certainly will need 1 or 2 people to be sort of volunteer coordinators, make phone calls, see who's coming, what they can bring, chase down materials. We need all skills.
All right, well, great to meet you. Thanks for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.